Chapter 4: Letting Go of Fear. What we want is on the other side of fear. Fear paralyzes us. It stops us from talking to people. It makes us want to turn on Spotify and set our speakers loud, and it stops us from doing what we ought to do. Fear also triggers stress. The connection between the two is akin to two lovers trying to stay in a toxic relationship for reasons that are deeply questionable. When we fear something, especially those that has not happened yet, it cripples us. First, it calls out anxiety. The body then starts to react and boom, stress levels start to soar high. And then we start to get sicker by the moment. It doesn't end there though. It will slowly affect work output, relationships, confidence levels, and your life in general. So how do we deal with fear, being the bestie of stress? Let me first ask this question. What is it that you fear? Fears and how to handle them. Basically, let's first categorize fear so we can discuss it further. There's what we call the bear fear. This first kind of fear is real, literally and figuratively, as in the fear you feel during times when you are in real danger. Like when you're having a forest bathing day and suddenly a bear crosses your path. Your body will give you a signal and urge you to run for your life as fast as you can. This kind of fear gets lost when you reach a safe point. The second type of fear is what we call the fear of neurochemical origin. This type of fear is serious and not laughable as the first one. No matter how far you may run, no matter how big the bear might be, there is no amount of running away from this kind of fear. Not even shamans, mantras, or religious practices can vanquish it. What it needs is a medical doctor or a professional to treat the symptoms. The third type of fear is the anxiety fear. This is more common than the other two. The way to recognize it is to ask yourself, is there an immediate cause for my fear? Is a big salivating dog after me? If the answer is yes, that brings you back to fear number 1. If the answer is no, then move to the next question. Is it caused by chemical imbalance? If a professional thinks so, then go back to fear number 2. But if your fear is caused by neither of the two, then we may categorize it as the third fear, which is anxiety. This kind of fear can sometimes be rational or irrational, meaning to say, what you fear can or cannot actually happen. To deal with this kind of fear means you need to do some inner work. Yoga, meditation, and breathing exercises might help. How fear gives birth to stress. The human brain is such a complicated organ that up until today, scientists all over the world are still trying to understand its processes. Now, how fear is handled by the brain is connected to what is termed to as the flight or fight mechanism of survival by the human body. A simple explanation of this mechanism would be, first, a threat is perceived by the brain. Fear is experienced by a person. Then one's automatic nervous system puts the whole body on alert mode. The adrenal cortex, the heart, breathing, glands, and muscles get involved in choosing whether to fight or flight. To choose to fight means to engage in a battle, whether a dog in sight or a ranting coworker. To opt for flight means to run away, literally or figuratively, whether it be a romantic relationship or a snake in attack mode. The point of the matter is that fear, especially when not handled well, gives stress levels a boost that can be out of control. Now that you have at least a bit of understanding on how the body reacts to fear, then you can more or less know how to handle the process. Ways to disconnect fear and stress. Confront your fears. Whoa. I know that this is such a big statement, but you will never know the difference it can make to your life unless you try to do it. It has been said in the first sentence of this chapter that the things you want are on the other side of fear. You want a stress-free life? Then know and understand what's keeping you from being stress-free. Though it may not seem as an easy process, the results are but guaranteed. Get to know the second basic motivating force, love. The first one is fear. Remember that when there's fear, the tendency is to pull back, to shun the outside world, and to stay within our comfortable nutshells. But when there's love, the tendency is to be open with what life has to offer. When there's love, acceptance, passion, and excitement becomes present. Even our potential to create and evolve becomes apparent. Being stress-free becomes attainable. Understand that fearlessness is not carelessness. Fearlessness is simply not the absence of fear or the reduction of it, but instead, it is accepting of what goes beyond it. What is meant here is that practicing humility, compassion, and empathy can make you a fearless human being. How so? Practicing humility makes you open your heart to others. For example, when confronted by an irate boss in the wee hours of the morning, being a fearless one practicing humility, you may become more understanding. Your fear of being bullied or stepped on is absent. The next thing that could happen is that you turning an ugly situation to something light and stress-free. Find the approach that helps you deal with fear even before it connives with stress. Always keep in mind that stress, especially chronic stress, takes a toll on your immune system in vast ways. So if by any chance you can stop it from creeping into your system, do it fast by all means. Things like time management, avoiding toxic people and relationships, creative journaling of your hopes and dreams, and a game plan for your ambition and career are great examples that works like a magic eraser of fears. This is because things like these ground you and make you confident.